Welcome to the Startup Grind.
First of all, I would like to thank all of you to come here this Friday evening. It's very nice outside, I know, and I all wanted to stay out, but it's almost a full house. And thank you all, really. Thanks a lot for coming and interacting with each other for last hour. Really appreciate it. And I'm gonna tell you a little bit about Startup Grind. It's a US-based company, and pretty much we do meetups which are a little bit more valuable than or which deliver better value than other meetups. And the concept being, we should have some time to interact with each other and connect with each other instead of just exchanging cards. And that's what I was saying for last hour. And then we'll have a nice fireside chat with Hari, who is here. Thanks a lot for being here. And after that, we'll have some more time to network. If you want to stick around, talk to Hari or talk to any of your peers. That'll be very nice. So without anything else, I'll just start with focusing on Hari now. So first of all, thanks a lot for coming. And we know that running a startup. Not one, two startups is not easy. So thanks a lot for coming. Really, we appreciate your time. So let's start there. Let's start with how it started or where it started. Let's start there.
Okay, so we started like 3 years back. So we did I'm a BTech computer science grad from NIT Trichy. So after we were doing a couple of things during college days, so that's where it all starts. You build your college website, your technical fest website, and all this stuff. After during those days, we were building a small portal where you can do some online testing and all that stuff. But at that time, I didn't know that a word called startup existed at all. I love programming. I wanted to build stuff, and all my friends are using the portal I'm building. That's cool. That's all. It's all about building those stuff. And after college, I got placed in IBM, and I worked there for a year. So my friend Vivek, he also got placed in Amazon. So what used to happen is we started whatever we were building in college. We were actually continuing that and trying to host it online. So that's the first time when you come out of your college net. So it always used to be like some subdomain.nitt.edu. Now it comes out saying that domain.com, and that is when you publish it online and you feel so proud because you can see it from home. So we started building a small portal where you can conduct mock interviews. So that was the first idea. So what happened was Vivek worked from Chennai and I worked from Bangalore. So I used to go to Chennai, go home on like Friday night. I used to travel. Saturday morning, put the bag at my home, directly go to Vivek's place. And Sunday night I'll come back to my home, and I used to take the bag again and come back to Chennai. So my mom used to be like, if you're coming to Chennai and not staying at home, don't even come. Why the hell you are coming to Chennai? And so Vivek used to do this the alternate week, and that's exactly when we realized, yes, we need to quit. Otherwise, we always thought, okay, there is that fear, like, do you want to quit? What do you do without your salary, and how do you manage things? But this thing, like, hating your job on Monday and the Saturday, Sunday where you hack stuff with your friend, that's so very awesome. That's more important than your work, that's more important than your family. That's when you realize, okay, yes, you need to start something. So we worked for exactly 1 year, because you have a joining bonus of 20K, and if you quit within a year, you have to give that back to the company. And we wanted that to build the company, of course. So I quit on my 366th day, like 1 year is done, dude, you need not pay back that. So they give a party for finishing your 1 year, and next day I say, dude, I'm gonna quit. So that's what happened. And Vivek also saved like his 40K because he need not give it back. So it's exactly 365 days. We quit, and at that time we got into this Morpheus. They were startup accelerator here. So we realized, yes, we are awesome in tech. We can build anything we want in one night, but we need some advice. We need some contacts. You can't just go and build this thing. There is a lot of unknowns there, and you need some mentor to help you out. So once we got into this Morpheus, we told them, yes, we are gonna quit. We started. By the time we quit, we had a portal. We had a working portal which was very, very messy. It used to break a lot, but the best case used to work. So with that, we somehow launched. We didn't make a lot of money from that. That's probably the first. We ran that mock interview portal for 1.5 years, and the total money I got from that was 20,000. That's the total revenue at all. Like from that, we were putting in like 18 hours, 20 hours a day, and still nothing was coming out of that. Still we were like trying to build some extra stuff which will attract the students. So things like a small test platform. So it was like the portal is something like you come in. So we thought students wanted good job. So we thought students would pay for getting a mock interview with someone from say Facebook or Google or Microsoft. So you take a 1-hour mock interview session with them, and for that session you pay something and we will give a cut to the interviewer. Sounds like an awesome plan when I say it here, but it is not really. One, students were not ready to pay. Two, students were not even willing to study or learn. They want a good job, but they don't want to learn. I don't understand the logic there. So it so happened that nobody was paying, and we were trying to figure out what would work out, what might not work. So 1 week I took off, built a small testing platform where a student can come in, just say, I want to improve myself in Java. So we give like 10 Java questions, they solve it. And this was kind of done. Now to make our pricing page really interesting, what we did was we added up more rows. It's like study material, free session, and an online test, and whatever you could. The pricing page has to fill in for a page, right? Like it has to come to 768 pixels. So there, one girl suddenly paid us 5K. That's out of the 20K, she paid like 5K. She's like 1/4 of her. So what she did was, and at that time, so what we did was whenever someone pays, we used to post that event to Google Calendar and configure that with an SMS, because we didn't have money to pay for an SMS channel. So connect it with Google Calendar, and Google Calendar will send you free SMS. So immediately I get SMS saying someone paid 5K. I called her and I see that her number is busy. I was damn sure it was Vivek who was talking to her already. And it was. So the first question he asked was, why did you pay 5K? Like, what? Why did? She said, I like the test part there. I wanted to test myself for a Microsoft job. And she didn't really pay for the interview or anything. She thought it as an extra stuff. And at that time, we didn't have a test platform which is for coding questions. It was just multiple choice questions. So within 2 days, you build something. She took the test. She was very happy. She referred to 2-3 of her friends. But by that time, we realized test is what which is going to work. Mock interviews is something you need to stop. So again, I told Vivek, see, I'm going to take 1 more week off. I'm going to build this platform so that companies can also use this. Just give me a week. Let's see if it works out or not. So I made a portal where we didn't have a login, we didn't have a sign up. You just log in, it takes you to dashboard. It had 1 user at all. And you can create a test, you can invite a candidate, you can see the score. That's all you can do, nothing much. It was really hacky. At that time we didn't have Bootstrap or anything like that to make the page good. So it was very sucky, but it worked. That's when we completely changed the product. I take this product to a startup in Bangalore, saying Vijay from Wisdom Tab. So I had no clue about how to price the product and all. I thought, so if you're from Chennai, or if you're from I don't know, any local stores, there's this shop called Saravana store in Chennai where they sell everything super cheap, okay? And there's a lot of crowd coming in. I thought, let's make it 1 rupee per candidate. and we will have million, people coming in, and you make like million rupees. So I went to show him the portal. He gave his feedback, and then I tell him like, how much would you pay for it? He's like, I don't know. It saves my time and saves a lot of my time. I would probably give 100 rupees per candidate. I was shocked. Because here I am, 1.5 years, I tried to build something and nobody paid me anything. And this 1 week hack is, this guy is ready to pay me 100 rupees. So I told him, this is super awesome. Don't pay me anything. Whoever who's in your contact, mail them about Interview Street. Like, don't pay me anything. I'm not interested in cash now. All the company people tell them Interview Street is saving your time. And he mailed a lot of contacts there. One of his contacts was Mekin from Flipkart. Apparently he was Mekin's boss in Yahoo. So it really worked out. So when you get a mail from your boss saying, hey, this is cool, you tend to at least read the mail. Otherwise you just directly mark it as spam. So Mekin called me on the same day and said like, hey guys, can you come and give me a demo? That was awesome. Like, from nowhere to getting Flipkart as a client, that helped us a lot. And so we talked to them. They had a lot of feature requests. So we used to have this. Whenever someone gives a feature request, it has to go in within 24 hours. It has to go to prod. Don't worry about code quality. Don't worry about whether it's, how it is done. Just build it, get the customer happy. And Vivek had a trick to do this. So at 3 o'clock in the night, he will send a mail to the customer saying it's done. He wouldn't ask me or he wouldn't talk to me or anything. Exactly 3 to 4 a.m., he'll mail them saying, hey, here is the feature. You can go log in and check this in your account. And I'll also get a copy of that mail. One, customer sees that yes, we are working on that feature for 3 a.m. which is like, wow, these guys are working at 3 a.m. Two, I have to push it within 4 hours because I know the customer is going to log in at 8 o'clock. And if they don't see the feature, they are going to shout at me. So all these small hacks you do to keep yourself motivated as well as keep pushing the features. And after Flipkart, looks like a lot of Flipkart Amazon recruiters at that time have moved out of Amazon and they came here. And they tell their friends in Amazon saying, we are using this portal, which is cool, maybe you should also give it a try. And that's when we get a call from Amazon saying, come show us a demo. So till now, it has been mostly, one recruiter moving from one company to another and they go and pitch Interview Street. And it grew from there, like, Amazon, then Facebook, then we got into YC and a lot of US companies started using us. So that's kind of the journey with the bad part and the good part, I guess.
So yes, you actually put it together very well. So one of the questions which I really wanted to ask you, which a lot of us, me being one of them, we struggle with is customer acquisition, and where you hit that point that recruiter move from company to company and then they take your product. And what else have you done? I would really like to know, other than word of mouth, what has been your strategy, or have you ever had a strategy in place for Interview Street that okay, this is our strategy, that's how we're going to go and crack these big companies?
The main thing is, so Vivek coming from Amazon and me coming from IBM, the one thing we learned there is customer happiness. You need to make sure anyone who comes to your site, you treat them really well. So our SLAs have gotten really short. Like, if someone mails, you get back to them within 5 minutes saying, hey, I got your mail, I'm working on that. You immediately assign one developer if it's something bug, or you make sure they are the highest priority. And so they feel pampered actually. That is the right word. So you kind of really pamper them well. So when they move from one company to another, you want them to talk about you. So this has been the easiest way for us to do when we didn't have enough money, and we didn't have a lot of customers also. We had only 10 or 20 people to take care of. Like we had Flipkart, Amazon. So all the Amazon recruiters, I know them personally. They know that this is the statement. If I give it to Hari, it will be done. Okay, so this you need to get it done. I have So there was a campus which happened at 5 a.m. in the morning. So I was up at that time taking calls. So we used to handle beyond what a normal company would do. So the HR would go to the campus. The candidates would actually have a, say, doubt in the question or something. So the HR either has an option to call one of the technical people or us. And most of the time they'll call us. So they know that yeah, we will get things done for them. This is the primary thing which helped us. And from the beginning we have been seeing like this has been the way. Like the moment we got Amazon, because of Flipkart's referral, we just wanted to replicate that.
Okay.
So that has been the major thing.
So if I'm getting it right, it's all about just pampering your customers and whoever is the decision maker, in your case usually HR people. That's an awesome advice. So let's talk a little bit about Y Combinator. I know there are a lot of startups here who would love to go there and learn from great people. But how has your experience been at YC, or ups, downs? Just let's talk through it.
Okay, so if people here the equivalent for Y Combinator here in India would be, I would say, IITs.
Okay.
The competition is really, really high, and it's a mad race because you run at such a pace that you can't really believe. Like now when I look back, I can't imagine I worked that hard. You need to put in like 20 hours and then push something, and then later that thing wouldn't work in some IE7 or IE8 because of some JavaScript bug. You again wake up and fix. So if it's some logical error, you actually get up and you feel some motivation to fix it. If they say it's not working in IE7, you feel totally depressed. I don't know why, but I guess that's the same for everyone. So but the thing is, so Y Combinator, we used to have this office hours. The main thing is, one, you have office hours every week. So when I go and talk to Paul or Jessica saying, I have this problem, this is where I'm not able to scale, they're going to have a meeting with you next week. So and they're going to suggest something to further fix. So you have 1 week to implement what they told you, measure, and get back to them saying this is what happened with your advice. So you actually end up getting like 2 to 3 days to implement the feature, which on a normal pace would take like maybe 15 days. So that's when you need to be very, very focused. You end up throwing all the extra features you don't want. You just build something in the 2 days, track it. Next week you go say like, hey Jessica, this is what you told. This is how the numbers are growing, or this is how the numbers are remaining the same. It's not working out. I'm going to try something new. So that pace is insane. Like that's something which is an external thing, which is just for 3 months. So you can't do it for a lifetime for sure.
Okay. So I guess that's why they keep it for 3 months. Very nice. So see, I have talked to you before, and there are a lot of founders here, or in Bangalore, or anywhere in India, who are not technical founders. It's very, very tough to hire a rockstar developer. I mean, I know it's a most abused term right now, but to hire a very, very good developer, it's tough. I mean, I'm doing it. I know it's tough. So you being technical founder and your co-founder being a technical founder, co-founder, what would you like to tell those people who are not technical and want to hire someone or make someone co-founder? What would be your recommendation like?
I would say like learn programming to some extent that guy can talk to you. Okay. So you should not be completely unaware of programming or the technical skills. So at least you can design the mock-ups. Okay. So you can design the flow, and you give it to the developer who can actually clearly implement it. If you tell the developer if you are a non-technical co-founder, you say like build this website, that's not going to work out. Like I want this website, it has to sell this or it has to do this thing, didn't work. So you give them clear flows, you get involved in each and every process except the coding part. Coding is just a small part there. You have getting into better UX where good design elements, like keep just browsing Dribble for hours. That's what my designer does. So pick some nice components. Like you can talk to the developer in terms of developer saying, instead of this slider, I saw the slider in Dribble. Would this work out well? For that, you don't need technical skills as well. So that's one thing which would really help, because you would be in equal terms to them. So as a developer, if I'm building something, I don't want to be totally isolated.
Okay.
So I want you to help me with some design flow. I'm not going to ask you saying whether, if I'm going to use MySQL or some PostgreSQL, what is the difference, or which database engine I should use. But here I'm stuck with this flow. After the user signs up, I don't know whether I should take him to the dashboard or the news feed. Can you tell me what to be done? So you need to be kind of involved in the programming skills. That will help a lot.
That definitely makes sense. So Interview Street helps other companies to hire developers, right? And I would really like all of you and everyone to know what is their procedure to hire developers for their own team. So why don't you walk us through that painful process?
Okay. So at this point we don't use Interview Street to hire through Interview Street. So we use Interview Street for campus, but usually through referrals and stuff, we don't give them an online test. The first step is we ask them to build a application, which is a simple web app. But the thing is, we ask them what programming language they know. So if you say you are a good Python developer, we ask them to build in PHP. If you are good in PHP, build in JavaScript. So we make sure you end up learning something new in the whole process. That helps them, that helps us evaluate how fast they can learn. And we give them something in front end where they have never heard of. So something like Backbone or Angular. They need to build a simple web app using an MVC in the front end and MVC in the back end. So we have a standard template where there are two placeholders, what programming language to use and what framework to use. So based on what that guy says, we just change it to something he has never heard of and just give it to them and see how well he can do Google search. If a programmer can do awesome Google search, I'll hire him. Okay, that's what I do every day, and that's what I expect developers to do. It's whether you can come up with the right term or not is the thing. Once they are done with that, wherever they are, we invite them to our office for 3 days. Since we work on all 7 days, people working in other companies, they take either Friday or Monday off, and they come on Saturday, Sunday, Monday, or Friday, Saturday, Sunday. If it's college grads, they are happy to come as long as you sponsor their travel, which we do. So they just come, and I have an extra room in my home, so it's like you can crash there no matter how many people are there at the same time. So half the people crash in office, half at my place. And those 3 days, we make sure everyone talks to them. We give them code access. We ask them to build a feature in our website. Most of the times we don't push it, but we ask them to build things. And on how fast they learn. So if some guy is going to ask me questions about Rails, which he can Google instead of asking me, that's what I want. I want him to figure out things on his own rather than asking me. I don't want him to take my time. If he's going to ask something which is Interview Street specific, yes, I'm ready to answer. But if the question is Googleable, don't come to me. That's the rule. Like if you do that, then you are not hired.
So that's a red flag.
Yeah, that's a clear red flag. Then there are a lot of things like how we take them for lunch, dinner. Since the guy stays at my place, whenever I come home, like I'm gonna spend some time with him. After 3 days, you clearly know about the guy. Like you have this intuition which comes up saying, if I hire this guy, I'll be happy. Or if I hire this guy can take my company from this stage to the next stage. And once you get the feeling, you kind of say yes, otherwise it's no. Like that's the way we hire people.
Great. That says a lot about company culture and how tough it is to get in. I can say they only hire very, very smart people. So that's great, because hiring process is also very, very touchy subject, or touchy is not a good word, I would say. It's very tough topic for a lot of startups, because how do you know, like how much time do you give? Is it 3 days? Because you said work 7 days, and a lot of companies work 5-6 days, and a lot of companies won't be able to understand that, okay, whether he's smart enough or not. But you being a developer yourself, I think it definitely helps out. So let's talk through HackerRank, right? So the first company was Interview Street. Now they have started another company. It's called HackerRank. And why don't you introduce HackerRank to everyone and begin?
So actually, it's a single company on legal terms. It's two products.
Okay.
But yeah, interviewstreet.com, HackerRank are two specific different things. So it started actually with a YC meet when Paul Boucher, the Gmail creator, he said, like, you guys are building Interview Street, which is good, which solves the problem where companies are not able to filter good candidates. But what is the big problem? It's actually finding the good candidates. So rather than being a company where someone gives you 100 developers and you can tell who is the top 10, if you yourself can say this is the top 10 guys, so if you can say, like, you can change the way campus hire works. Like I can say, like, don't go to campus. Are you going to IIT Kharagpur? I know these are the top 10 guys. They are in HackerRank. Interview them. If they are ready to join your company, go ahead. No need to do that travel. No need to do that test. You should be in a position to do this rather than being a testing platform. We thought this was interesting, and we thought if there is one company which can kill Interview Street, it is this, and we wanted to build that. So that's clearly the reason why we started HackerRank. So we started this in Interview Street's name with the name as Code Sprints. So we used to have one coding contest, and like 50 companies or 100 companies will be a part of that. So it's actually a dating site between programmers and companies. So you take part in the competition. Once you are done with the competition, you get to choose your companies. And once you choose, the companies get to choose you, like, if they like you, then you both take it forward from there and they give you an offer if they like you. So this worked really well. In the Code Sprint 2, we had like 80 odd companies, including like Apple, Microsoft, Skype, Quora, and after that, they started using our platform, even Interview Street.
Okay.
Then came in this problem where people were not able to recognize what Interview Street is, whether it's a coding platform or whether it's a testing platform. So we split the name completely into HackerRank, and now we are building an amazing platform where you can have your own contests, where you can have company-sponsored challenges, sponsoring a lot of contests for, like, IEEE's programming contests, ACM, all this. So what we are trying to build is this portal of programmers, wherein, so if you want to find out, like, who are the top 10 Erlang programmers from Bangalore who are available for a job, awesome, you can actually do that in HackerRank. So you can run your SQL query in HackerRank and find the top 10 guys. If they are interested, you can just talk to them. That's what we are trying to do.
So is HackerRank paid for the companies, or how?
It's paid for the companies at this point. Since Interview Street is making some sort of money, we haven't thought much about HackerRank's revenue model. Whenever someone wants to use our platform for their contest, we charge something. But it's at this point, it's like, forget the money part. Let's make sure we have like 100,000 programmers here. Okay. That is the only benchmark here. So Interview Street has revenue as the benchmark, and here it's active programmers as the benchmark. So at this point, we don't not focused on the money for HackerRank.
For HackerRank. Okay, that's perfect. So we talked about Interview Street, we talked about HackerRank, and my guess is you have, like, you still code for production. He's one of those founders who still codes for and pushes it in production. Like whatever you see on the website, it's possible. Whatever you see on the HackerRank, that he himself has written the whole thing. And I would like to know how much. What is the size of your team right now at HackerRank?
So we have actually 10 people here in India. That's all of 10. Like, so it's like 4 developers for Interview Street, 4 developers for HackerRank, and 1 marketing guy for each.
Okay.
So that makes it 10, 5, and that developers includes me also there. Okay. Okay, and so we have like 7 people in US.
Okay.
So that makes it our team size 7. Development happens in Bangalore.
Okay. Okay. So I'm gonna open this to the people for Q&A, and feel free to ask any questions you have. Anyone? Okay, please go ahead.
Does HackerRank allow people to upload their codes also? It's like, or is it just profiling?
No, you can upload your own questions.
Okay.
You can conduct your own contest,
Okay.
and you can invite other people to participate in your contest, and people would be uploading their code as a solution.
Is there a profile building for the students on HackerRank or something?
We do build a profile based on how many codes you have, how many problems you have solved, and what is your rank. So that's what we are trying to build. Like HackerRank's rank should be one thing which you should refer to when you kind of add it in your resume.
Okay.
So there is something. Yes.
The ranking algorithm, is it based on certain parameters or is it a human ranking?
It is based on the number of problems you solve and how fast you have solved it. So there is no human ranking at this point. It's completely automated. Based on so we have a monthly contest. So each month, where is how you participate and where your ranking is. Based on that, your total ranking increases or decreases.
Yeah, one other question on your recruitment process. When you are trying to hire folks, especially attracting the talented guys, they would always look for a bigger company to work rather than joining a startup, right? So how do you, what kind of mindset with which they come, and how do you
Okay. So to tell you the truth, Interview Street brand kind of helped us there. One, because all these companies actually use our platform in colleges. So all the college students know Interview Street with or without telling us telling them what this portal does. So they clearly have an idea. And we conduct contests for college grads, and so people know. And us getting into Y Combinator also got us some press, and people know what we are doing. Apart from that, it kind of helps the way you talk. So Vivek pitches as if HackerRank is the next big thing. It's gonna the way we are gonna change the recruitment in India or in the world. So when I say, like, there are two pitches he does for programmers, I think it's kind of bullshit because I go by logic, but he believes that. So these are two things. The first one is, we are going to completely revolutionize the way campus hire happens in the country, because the way I said, like, rather than going to the campus, you can say, like, these are the top 10 guys. The second one is even more worse. So he says, like, we can make the world move faster, and this is his thing. So think of this: if Steve Jobs, when when they launched iPhone, he had the idea of iPad also. But he didn't launch it because he didn't have that good developer team, or the team with which he wanted to build the iPad with. So if you had given him that team 2 years before iPad launch, he would have launched it way faster. And that's what we are doing for companies. So if you look at this from a logical perspective, and like the way he says it, you're completely blown off. Okay. So, and you need to come up with some sort of this pitch. And this is true. We have done that for companies. It's not like completely false, or it's not a lie. But the way you put it attracts developers. I don't know how many nights he thought about this, come up with this quote. But this, when I say this to everyone, they are like, wow, this is awesome.
There are two phases to this, right? One, the way you pitch to get the talent. And number one, then once they start working for you, the reality hits. So, retaining the talent is another big challenge. As you said, you wanted to live in 365 days, and sometimes you might not even pay them joining bonus. So they won't mind putting it in a month, or they may be using your offer letter to find another job also. So in those cases, how do you manage to retain the talent?
I would like to interrupt here, because I would like to please share that story where everyone left, and then it just happened with them. So I
say that because we have had a very rough patch there. So after we got into YC, and after we got our funding from Khosla, we actually had a team of 4 at that time, and all 4 left. So here we are with a few $1 million in the bank, and just me and Vivek, and it was very scary. We were like, if I hadn't taken the money, then I would have somehow figured it out, because that's what we have been doing for 1 year. But now you are responsible for that money also. And the investor is like, you took the money, but where is the team? Okay. So this is what happened. So once people are completely burnt out, okay, so that's something we realized you should not do with your employees,
Exactly.
but you can do it with your founder. So Vivek doesn't think twice to call me at 3 a.m. or 4 a.m., but he wouldn't call anyone else. Same goes for me. Like I can call him anytime, but I don't call the employees in US team. We make sure we don't burn them out soon. Second one is whenever we get a big client, we make sure we take them for a treat, or we kind of celebrate them, so that people kind of know that we are moving. Like, every week we discuss numbers, and we make sure there is one number which is positive. You need to project it as if you are growing, and you should be growing, obviously. So there is one number which should be good, one number which makes the whole team look positive, and that helps. The reality helps, it's gonna hit. Like as I said, you can move the world faster, but you have to fix your IE7 bug, right? You need to go back and fix that. You can't get away from that. So with that, we have had a rough patch. Like after all 4 left, we didn't know what to do. So we started hiring full-time. I was on the phone. So what I used to do is, before we used to stay at a place at Indiranagar, and nearby there used to be a roadside dosa shop where they have like this 100 types of dosa and stuff. So I used to take my phone with 3 numbers and call them. There is one guy who made me miss my dinner because it was so interesting to talk to him. Like whatever technology I ask about, he is like, Erlang, he has worked on it. He has worked on MySQL, Memcache, whatever stuff you throw at him. He has done some stuff. He knows how to build things. And I actually missed my dinner that time, and I was talking to him for 1 hour. And I offered him the job the next day. So we reached that point. We burnt our fingers there. We know what works. So for example, tonight we are going for the movie, that Spider-Man movie, I don't remember the name.
Superman.
Yes,
Superman.
Superman.
Great.
Yeah. So I'm going for that movie with the team, with a free charge team and stuff. So you make sure you keep watching your employees regularly. If something goes wrong, even by a bit, that means you need to fix it very fast. So even now people leave, people come, but right now the retention is way better than what it was earlier. That comes by knowing, like, employees and founders, there are some things you can do to your co-founder, but you should not do your employee.
That's really important to understand, I guess. There's one guy then. Yes. Yes, it was you. Yes, please go ahead.
I just wanted to look at both your products from a student's perspective. The stakes seem pretty high for both hacker rank. I mean, I would like a better rank. I would like to clear the tests. How do you see cases of plagiarism, places where 4 people are solving the same question? How do you solve that?
So if it's a campus, there is no question of plagiarism at that point. So there is going to be someone who is going to take care of things. But if in case of hacker rank, yes, there could be something which is happening. But ours is a nice way, a pre-filtered way of giving candidates to companies. And companies actually have their own process of filtering candidates. This is not like the only thing with which they make the decision. After HackerRank, they let you take their hiring process, their phone interviews and everything. And only if you clear that, you get to go to the next step. We are also building some way where we can check the plagiarism, we check for code similarity and stuff. But yeah, I know that students are smarter when it comes to cheating. So my code and their smartness, they beat me like 10 times. So there are probably cases, we are working on that. But this is not the only thing. So Interview Street and HackerRank are used by companies for their pre-filter process. Instead of talking to 10 people, 100 people, you would talk to like 40 people. 40 guys who can code. That's the time saver.
Yes, please.
Yeah, there are similar products as you described hacker rank, like Top Coder and Code Forces. How different it is from that?
Okay, Top Coder is a very nice product. In fact, I used to code in Top Coder when I was in college, and that's one motivation for HackerRank, I would say. But these products don't connect you with the companies that well. So Top Coder's rating system is good. The SRM is really amazing. You feel happy after you solve the contest. But after the contest, it's done. You don't really get a job offer or anything of that sort with Top Coder. So what we are doing there is bringing in the company component also. So if you see Code Forces, you can learn there. But whatever code you type in that 3 hours, apart from the learning part, it's not really getting you anything more than that. With HackerRank, connecting with the companies, it helps you get a job too if you want.
But isn't that what Interview Street is doing?
No, Interview Street is for companies for their hiring process. So Interview Street is, you can call it as like for a filtering process, and HackerRank is the one for sourcing. So if you want to get connected to Quora, we will have a challenge there, solve it. It will notify Quora people that you have solved it, and then they will get in touch.
Does that answer the question? Yes. Gentleman there and then.
Yeah.
Yes.
So you said you're an active coder, you also work on your own production board.
Yeah.
At the same time, you're a founder, you have to attend meetings, you have to give a talk at startup Grind.
Yeah.
I am in a similar role, and I would like to understand how you manage your schedule and how you manage to concentrate on your coding aspects even when you have other schedules too.
True. So there are a couple of hacks we do in office. So everyone gets like 2 hours time where nobody disturbs them. So you have like a small flag on your monitor saying, red, which means they should not come and talk to you. They can mail you or they can ping you, but they can't come next to you and ask a question, which is what is going to break all your focus. So, I mean, being a developer, I understand. So you would be thinking of 1 stack, 2 stack deep, and someone asks you any question, that whole stack goes away. And we also have 1 day where you can actually completely work from home, not come to our office, give any updates. And that 1 day usually goes for a lot of cleanup stuff and things which, features like, I wish it was there, but I don't have time to build it features actually. So these two helps me a lot to make sure, even though it's only 2 hours, I get to push something and that goes to production. And that also makes me code faster because I know I have only 2 hours. After that, I need to go and talk to others. And usually it's other developers asking, hey Hari, what do I do? Is this pricing page looking good? Can I put this kind of questions? So these two things really help, like having your own time set for coding.
Was your inspiration Paul there? That's how we built email. I think that's how we
Yeah,
built
that's
Gmail.
kind of one thing. Yeah, a
Yes.
couple of things we got.
Yes. Gentleman.
Yeah,
Yes, please.
so in Interview Street, there are companies like Metal
Mm-hmm.
that do a similar thing. So
Mhm.
how do you kind of gauge yourself against?
Metal, yeah, they do exactly similar to what we do, and probably so they would be one of our direct competitors.
Okay.
So we need to do
But
better.
is there a USP that you have? So when you go to a customer
Mhm.
and the customer says, "How different are you from these guys?" Is there something that?
So I would want to put my customer service as a USP, and if I do that, I think rest all falls in place.
Okay.
There are a couple of other minute features I would want to put in. Maybe Metal also will have their own differences. So I'm not claiming that we are the only one who's doing this. Metal also does similar stuff. We are trying to bring in machine learning, artificial intelligence, these type of questions also. So when we go for campus, you actually need not give them just algorithm questions. When I go for campus, this is what I do. I pick a game. So it can be a chess or it can be like tic-tac-toe and stuff. So in HackerRank, you can actually run games. So you write a code for, say, chess, and everyone else is going to write their own code for chess, and they play against each other. So whoever wins is like going to get a better ranking than you. So this is something Metal doesn't have, and I'm very sure Metal will have something which we don't have. So we have our own roadmap. I guess they will have their own, and there is a lot of common stuff too.
Cool. I'm sorry, you had your hand.
Yeah. So it's regarding more of security. When people come and code on your site, right? So how do you manage the security of the site? Because again, there has been many incidents where people come and try to make the server.
Yeah. So this code checker part, so we call this the code checker, which evaluates your code. This is something I wrote when I was in college. So we have this college tech fest where you have a programming competition, and it's called Bytecode for NIT Trichy. So I did the competition for 3 years, my second, third, and fourth year. So there I saw different sort of codes, people trying to hack my server and all that. So by the time when I was about to launch Interview Street, I had a very solid code checker. Just that I didn't know that the code checker will make money. I did it for fun in college days, and I used the exact same code, and it started working really well. So we have a system. You make sure you chroot. You have a jail to run the process and fork it. In the child process, you will run it with the proper time limit and stuff.
Solve. Just after that.
Do you see the Indian recruitment space a little immature when it comes to finding out the right guy for the job, per se?
Mature in what sense? Like?
Because most of the times, I've been in a lot of companies and I've seen that most of the times you end up recruiting the wrong guys. So is that a problem that you've seen?
I think that's a problem we are trying to fix rather than a problem we see. Because the companies don't have enough bandwidth, or they don't have the enough metric to see whether this guy is right or wrong. So most of the time they end up go by intuition. Like this guy might work out, may not work out. Now you have a number saying this is the score this guy has done. And it gives you a clear metric on how that guy has performed. So even if it is not that great, I think if they start using Interview Street, it will become awesome.
See, in my opinion, what this solves is only 50% in my opinion. Let me be honest with you.
Okay.
Okay, so technical aspect and the success of a guy who is doing an awesome product is two different things. What you're trying to solve is analytical piece of it, and then the ability to learn and the ability to learn the new technology, as you said. Okay, so that is the 50% part. So most of the companies, what I have seen, they go deep down on the technical path of it, but whether he is a good fit, cultural fit, meaning whether he is a team player, whether he can work well with the team. In any big companies, if you take it, it's a team environment, right? So from good to greatness is what it is called. Whether it is a cultural fit is there or not, whether he has a right attitude, whether he thinks he knows, he is from IIT, he knows everything, whether that is a kind of attitude. If those kind of guys are there, if you end up recruiting, you will run into issue.
But that only applies to a segment where you're recruiting developers, right? What about middle management?
Doesn't matter. Again, it's all cultural fit. At the end of the day, if you have incorrect cultural fit in the mix, either he make the team miserable, who are reporting to him, or he will spoil the entire thing, or he will leave. One of those two. So you have to restart the whole process again. So there is an element of 30 to 40%, I would say. You need to focus on how culturally the guy you are planning to recruit.
So is there a way to do that?
So
that's the question.
let's bring this discussion offline, and let's stick to Hari for now, because we have 1 more hour after this.
So that's one thing I said. After 3 days, one thing we all discuss is whether will you be happy working with this guy. That's exactly the words I use, because that's what tells you a cultural fit. Like we call this like guys who think they are from Jupiter, like guys who think they're super awesome. So you don't want that kind of guys who would mess up the team culture, which also matters so much. So after 3 days, we don't talk about the tech skills. It's like, will you be happy working with this guy? That matters so much.
I know in Facebook that every employee who joins, be it a manager or a product manager, anybody, is made to go through a boot camp, mandatorily, right? So that necessarily does not happen with different companies. So if I'm recruiting a product manager for my company, I might not make him actually go through the process, right? He might actually start working. So that is a crisis which is looming large in the industry as of now. We are talking about developers, well and fine. How about the guys above that?
It doesn't matter which rank you are doing. If you don't put this into your interviewing process,
problem actually.
Yeah.
The gentleman here had then you and then you.
Yeah, I have a question. Like Interview Street is primarily geared towards campus hiring. So what about lateral hiring?
The companies use us for lateral hiring too, where they send an invite for you to take the test from your home. and based on how you perform. So that's where the plagiarism and all that comes into picture. But it's better than what we have now. Otherwise, actually, they send you a question paper where you have to write in pen and paper and you mail it back. So at least we are making it completely online and we immediately give you reports in 5-10 minutes. We do have a complete portal where you can do off-campus assessment too.
Gentleman in the back.
Are you planning to work on something for the non-tech hiring?
Not at this point, because I'm from tech background, and if I build something for tech, I know it will be really good because I can feel it. I know something, I can use it. If you want me to build for some other market where I don't have that feel, I might not be able to build it that awesome. So that's why we stick to tech at this point. So we are focusing there.
Because your brand is like interview street, so maybe you may want to expand into other verticals in the future.
We would want to expand obviously, but we want to make sure whatever vertical we are in right now, that's like very well done, then spreading out thin. So at this point it's technical tech, because that market is still, there is lots to do there.
It's not such a big, yeah.
And that market already has a lot of players.
You and then
Yeah.
So about your YC application, you had already got into Flipkart, you had got Amazon. Why did you apply to YC?
So, I mean, by the time, so first we applied to YC with a mock interview idea. We got rejected. Then the next time when we applied to YC, we had this.
That was 6 months ago.
This is like summer 2011. So it's like next year we applied again.
12 months ago.
So that time we had Flipkart, we had even Facebook using our platform. So that helped.
So why YC? Why not raise money or expand?
So we wanted to set this up in US. Okay, and you need some mentors there, you need some advisor. And at that YC point, we weren't really thinking much about the money thing. We wanted to grow and we wanted to get some advice, make sure, understand whether this is going to work or not. Like whatever mistake we did in the last 1.5 years, we didn't want to do it again. Right? So that's...
So the primary reason was to expand to the US market.
Yeah.
And did it help? Did it really help?
It did help a lot.
Great. Just one more and then you.
What are the one primary thing that helped you get into IC? Your traction, your number of clients in your pocket? What was it?
Team. I mean, we struggled for 1.5 years and still didn't quit. Okay, that's something which they found good. Like my bank balance reached 0. Okay, because that's like you have like so 1.5 years you struggle. Still the co-founders are together. Still they are trying to work on that product, and still they have pivoted, done something. So that team spirit is the more than the traction and stuff. Like so, it's like whatever we build, we can make it get the traction. We can make it success. That idea should be there.
So I would highly recommend you guys to go to his website and see. He has a timeline of since the date they quit their jobs. Then they got rejected by YC, then they had no money, then suddenly something came up, then I think one of the customers came in, but they were not paying. So there is a very nice timeline, and I would love to see it on a lot more websites, because that really tells you a lot about that company. Yes, you had a question.
It's an extension of the earlier question. You are in India, you are in the US. Given the laser sharp focus that you have on your product currently, which are the other markets you think that would be Interview Street would be successful at?
So Interview Street, if it grows, it wouldn't grow out of technical, but in technical there are multiple domains it can go into. Like if I want to hire a database engineer, if I want to hire a security engineer, if I want to hire someone who is good in machine learning, who is good in image processing, AI, and so we at this point haven't thought much about coming outside of the technical part, but we want to make sure each and every vertical inside the technical thing is like, how do you find good Lisp developers in Bangalore? Like I have no clue at this point apart from HackerRank already. No, that's the only source where I'm going to go and search. Like who are the developers who have submitted in Lisp? So this happens for a lot of startups I talk to, because they see that this new framework like Scala and this Akka framework are really good. They have built something on that, but they're not able to hire developers for that. All the developers they talk to are like mostly PHP or Ruby guys. They ask me whether, is there anyone whom you know who has built things in Scala and who can come join us? So I'm going to have a Scala contest where you submit only in Scala. I find the top developers in that segment, and I'm going to help them connect with the companies. So it's rather than actually going to multiple domain, we want to still reduce our focus and focus on smaller things in a better way.
Actually, my question was, which are the geographies other than India and the US where you think
so
this
we have
product
a couple
will
of we have China already using us. There is one company from Germany called Zalando who's like supposed to be Flipkart or Amazon of the Germany thing who's using us. Couple of companies from Australia are using it. So at this point there is no geography distinction. Like Amazon China uses us, Facebook uses us like everywhere, Singapore, Dublin, whatever campus you want to go and you have to go through that challenge. So geography is not going to be the roadblock here.
I guess that's the advantage of bringing everything online in a very nice way. Yes, sir.
Had you not got into YC, how would you have what would you have done?
So Vivek had a backup plan when he went into YC. So he had a list of like 30 companies he had to go and demo. So it was like one was Facebook US team. At that time we didn't have Facebook US. Facebook US, Quora, Skype and all that. So if we had gotten rejected in YC, he would have just gone and showed a demo to all the companies there. And ideally, as I said, the reason was to get have a market in US, get a lot of clients from US. So either YC way or you directly go and knock each and every company. Either way, as long as we get customers, we are happy.
So raising investments was not the plan.
Investments was not the plan. Like we thought customers was the thing, and we thought if we get customers, the other things would fall into place. So we didn't think much about the investment at that time.
Sir.
So I'm the founder of an early stage startup, and at what point would you suggest quitting your day job and or primary job, whatever you want to call it? And also, while you're in your job, how would you I guess it's a very arbitrary question, but how would you split time between your existing job and your startup?
So to answer that question, when we were trying to quit our job, this is the question which Vivek asked me and I asked him, what is your worst case? So assuming you give 1 year to your startup, okay, you want to try things out for 1 year. 1 year you don't earn anything, you go back to your home, sit from home and work. What is going to be your worst case? So at that point, my worst case was I might find another job with a better salary. And my worst case was way better than what I was doing. So I quit immediately. So it depends on your worst case. Like if you don't get a salary for 1 year, what is the bad thing which is going to happen to you? If that is okay with you, then you should quit today. If there are some commitments which you have, because of which you can't quit now, then you fix those and then quit. So it's based on you actually, rather than me giving something. But the question is, what is your worst case?
And the second part of the question, so say I do choose to stick on to the field, how would you split your time? I mean, is it about working 23-hour days, or how did you do it?
That's what I used to work on my weekends. So work with Vivek go to Chennai, work with him. And when I come back from office, I used to work for 2 hours, but that was not really that productive. After office hours...
How was it? I mean, looking back, do you feel like you should just quit? Or, I mean, did that period even help? Where you were just trying to do a half-hearted job here and there?
The money which got a salary helped, because that's what I saved and that's what helped me survive for some time. Apart from that, I did learn a couple of processes from IBM, the customer, valuing your customer more than anything else. All these helped. But I would say I didn't learn much. It's based on, like, again, it depends on how well you can quit today, right? Like what is going to be the worst case? Same, this is what is the answer for the second question too, if you think.
How did you promote Hacker Rank? How do you promote a position Hacker Rank?
Kind of field is that for that. what is your opinion of the learning ecosystem currently in the engineering colleges that promotes niche technologies and niche programming languages and stuff like that?
One is with colleges, since it's recorded, I don't want to say much, but
That's okay, we're not going to show it to anyone.
But one thing I like about college, let's start with the plus point. I like about the college is your friends and people who study with you. If they are good, then it's a very, very big plus. For example, one of my batchmates, he was really interested in programming competitions. So he was the one who actually made like 10 to 15 more people. He used to set competitions. He made me write the code checker, and that's how we built a small programming club in college and all this stuff. So he ended up being like #1 programmer in India for some time in Top Coder and all that. So that kind of peer thing helps a lot. But you should not expect anything from the prof and the academics.
So you're saying self-help groups are the best?
Self-help groups is the best.
I think he also said that you should learn how to Google it better rather than learning it. You have to know how to find it. It's already out there.
So just an additional question to that. What do you think is the fix? So now you came from NIT, which is a top-line college, and there are a whole bunch of colleges in Trichy itself, on the outskirts of Trichy, where you don't have these, you don't have the leaders to drive that, but they could be molded, right? Because they are interested. It's just that they don't have the right direction. What do you think is the fix for that kind of thing?
One thing which, whatever I could fix from my side is what we did this for all the Tier 2 colleges in Coimbatore. So I went there, gave a 1-hour speech and all, saying this is what HackerRank is doing. We are ready to give you, prizes, and we don't want the competitions to be so hard. So you guys set the contest. So every week, like, make a programming club of 5 people. So this month, one guy sets the question, and you give the challenge to others, and we ship our goodies, t-shirts from our side. So this has started. It's going to start actually after college. People come back after the semester holidays. So this worked well, where you go to a Tier 2 college, teach them the basic stuff on their own. So I'm not going to go and teach. If they are ready to learn, I'm going to give them a platform from where they can learn. The fix on a higher scale would be where professors are also interested in programming competitions or some sort of extra stuff apart from the textbook. That's what going to help on a bigger scale.
So I have a quick question, because when you said professors should be interested or might be interested eventually, do you think the professors can right now use this platform to conduct a test? Let's say I have a class, let's say professor has a class of 50 people. They can say, right, because okay, you go ahead, I've created this contest for you guys, you have until end of the week. Can they do that right now?
They are doing it.
Okay,
yeah,
great. Yeah,
they have that.
just wanted to know that. Last question, we are getting some time.
Okay, I need an advice from you. I'm working with a team of 3, and we're looking at some web applications back in my country, but none of us, we don't have any developer among the marketers and all. So will you recommend us outsourcing the coding aspect to a software company to build for us, so we spend the rest of the time on customer acquisition and all of that?
How hard it will be for you to hire one developer?
Yeah, the challenge we have is finances, like consistent salaries and all, but if we just pay the software company to build for us and then we
I think hiring one developer would be better, because there's a lot. So software is not like you build once. There's going to be this iteration cycle, and that's where you having one developer hired is probably going to help you, because you can immediately get the changes done. There is no with the outsourcing model, we haven't tried it out yet, because we wanted to keep them close. We wanted to push things faster. So if I have the developer, I can call him immediately and say, like, I want this in like 15 minutes, can you get this done? It goes to production in 15 minutes, and I make the customer happy. So that cycle is there.
So how about the challenge of, like, I understand the fact that one person cannot program in all languages. So how about a situation where, okay, we have, and like you said, we need, apart from the developer, we need a designer and all. So if we get a developer, so how do we figure out the design aspect? And if he says, oh yeah, I understand this feature you want to build, but I can build it. It's not my specialization. So what do we do in that aspect?
So again, I mean, you need to hire a designer. You have this developer, designer, and people who interact with each other. So design aspect, you should be in a position to tell them what should be the flow. Like, at first I need this screen. There are a lot of tools like Balsamic and other mock-up tools. So you just show it that to the developer. And right now there is this Twitter Bootstrap which every other site uses, and there is this Bootstrap's custom themes which you can just download and make sure your site looks completely different. And with that, the base level is good. It's way good that you can actually push it to production. You don't need to have an awesome designer if you have something built on Bootstrap. And when you later get your funds, or if you get your revenue, you hire one designer who actually works on top of the Bootstrap library and builds it from there.
I'll also share another story which they did. The first intern you guys hired, right? You might why don't you tell us how much about which one? You hired an intern, right? When you were Vivek.
Yeah, so we hired an intern from VIT. So when we hired him, he was actually working in another startup, but he was not enjoying the work there. So we just said, like, why don't you come and join us? And we paid him 5,000 per month. That's like too cheap. But he did amazing good work. Like, he used to work as equal as like what me and Vivek used to put in. And by the time he finished his intern, which was 6 months, we actually closed the Flipkart deal, we closed the Amazon deal. And the 6th month, his intern salary went up to like 20K. So we didn't take any salary. Whatever revenue came in, we just pushed it to him. And he was very happy with that. He was putting in more and more hours. And so that's one way you make an intern feel like a co-founder, and he works a lot on it.
Okay, yeah. You mentioned that you are backed up by multiple VCs. Now, what do you think made them invest in your company? Like someone said, I'm trying to get money, I'm trying to make revenues, and then someone said, no, don't make revenues, get customers, get users. So what do you think, users or revenues? Like if I have a product, if 20 people would pay 20 rupees for it, that's fine. But how about why I'm getting 1 rupee and getting maybe 1 million? Which do you?
So again, here I don't know much about your product. Maybe we can take it offline, because we do the same. For Interview Street, money is the goal. We need to get in more clients. We need to get in more money. Revenue is the thing. For HackerRank, users is the thing, because it's a programmers who are like going to convert into money. So we are more focused on getting more developers there rather than making money at this point. So I think I'll talk to you too.
Sure. So just 2 more questions, gentleman here and lady over there.
You just spoke about interns that you had. I'm seeing that a lot of startups, they want specifically interns. Do you have, any kind of option, in your website to get a good intern apart from full-time programs?
So the code sprints we have, which it has an option for both hiring interns or developers also. So you can specify. Companies, when they use our portal, they specify whether they want to use it for hiring an intern or hiring a developer full-time. So using that, they can do that.
Okay, you can get, intern from, do you have any test for that, or,
It's the same test, because they're going to do the same job. Ultimately they need to come and do the same work, whether it's an intern or...
Okay, with stipend or without stipend, can the option be,
Without stipend usually doesn't work. You need to give at least 1K as stipend, because the money has to be there.
Okay.
Yes, definitely. Last question. Yes.
Actually, we have a product which has been outsourced to development team. Because we are a startup, we thought we don't want to get into the development hassle. And I come from a testing background, so I do all the testing. And it so happened that the development is so shabby that I resisted to test it. I felt I can't test this product. And somehow we launched it. And now that I'm 8 months old of my own startup, I felt we should give the development to some other guys. But I'm stuck where how easy it is to use the code and develop it than developing it from the scratch.
Usually the advice is don't start from scratch, like try to reuse it.
Because it's a other version of whatever we have already developed. But I don't want to go with the same developer because he really has done a shabby job.
Okay, so one thing is, since you are from testing and you at least understand some code, or you can see that the code is bad, whoever you give it to, you should be closely involved with that. Like you should be it's called variable level. You should know what variable does what. So if you just go through the code and you are variable level involved in the code, you know what is going on, and even though you don't code, you get to know, understand, okay, this is how you are doing things, this is how you should not do things.
Yeah,
So
but those people did not allow me to get into the development aspect because they found myself to be a customer and said.
But they're going to give the code to you, right?
They didn't give them a code to me, but neither they allowed us to have a code watch.
Okay, maybe that should be the first red flag. Because usually, since they're going to give the code ultimately to you, you should be closely involved in the development process. So whoever you pick, make sure there is they are very clean with the process, they have built stuff, and if the team is good, right, you can actually ask them for advice. Like, take a look at this code, what do you think? If there is new team, you can tell them so if you actually show me the code, I can tell you whether it's fixable. If that is the case, I'll go by that. Whether it's going to take me more time to fix it or write from scratch. So it's looking at the code and how bad it is and how the good team which you are going to come up next, they should be able to make a call.
Cool. We're going to close the Q&A here, but he'll be around for a little while, so you guys are more than welcome to hang out and ask more questions. Thanks a lot, Hari. We really appreciate your time. Thanks.
Yeah.
Thank you.